We're back. No, we're not. Yes, we are. We are back. It's getting so hard to time this thing out. Sometimes the computer, because of the Wi-Fi, catches it. Sometimes it doesn't. But let's go back to where we were. Part one of the video for calculating the missing side using one angle and one side was where we determined that we are going to use the tangent. We set up the ratio, substituted in the numbers we knew, flipped where ADJ and tangent actually were so that it actually works, and then punched it in the calculator, which you couldn't see, but I'll put in one of the other videos. And then we came out with that the adjacent side, which was this side, was 22. Okay? So 22. Now, let's say we're going to do the last two parts of all this triangle math. And the last two parts, one is what is the interior angles in total. Okay? We know that the formula for finding the interior angles in total is that the interior angles inside have to equal 180 degrees. Well, luckily we know two of the angles. We know, I'm looking for my black font. Okay, we know this one over here on the corner. Okay, this is 90 degrees, always is. This one we were given was 45. So if we go 90 plus 45 minus 180, we will get this final angle. If you do the math, punch it into your calculator, you're going to know that 90 plus 45 minus 180 is going to give you 45 degrees. Now that would make sense because 45 plus 45, because this ends up being 45. Okay. 45 plus 45 is 90, plus another 90 is your 180. Okay, so we figured out the inside of the triangle. Now the question is, how do we figure out the last side? We have the two at 22 and 22, and we just want to figure out the hypotenuse. Well, hypotenuse, we know the formula for that. That's Pythagorean's theorem. Okay. So I'm going to write it in this green. Sometimes it's tricky, but it should come out. So if we go a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we're actually going to get what it is. One second. Time lapse. Sorry, I had to take a phone call. So we're at the formula for a squared plus b squared equals c squared, trying to figure out the last remaining side. Now we know that's the hypotenuse, and by trade, Mr. Ram usually recommends that we call this side C. Okay. I also recommend calling this side A because you're already calling it the adjacent, and then that leaves this side as B. Okay. I'm going to erase some of this other stuff so it doesn't just look so messy, because sometimes that can kind of mess you up. So we're going to get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of the stuff inside the triangle except for the sides and this line. So all we got to figure out is a squared plus b squared plus c squared. We're halfway there. We plug in what we know. We know that it's 22 squared plus 22 squared equals c squared. 22 times 22 on our calculator is going to look like 22 times 22. So it's 484 plus 484 equals c squared. Now we add those together. Okay. You're going to get 968 equals c squared. How do we get rid of the squared? We do the opposite. So it's the square root of 968 equals c. How does that work on my calculator? I believe it's, nope. So the square root of 968. My calculator gives me 31.06, 2 decimal spots. I'm going to stop it at 31. Therefore, if this side is 22, this side is 22, this side is 31, 31. I can now ask you a ton of different questions, such as, what is the area of the triangle? What is the perimeter of the triangle? So please be prepared for that. So it does kind of tie in to what we covered in other units. Okay. Hopefully in the next video I have a little bit more time, sequence it a little better. Any questions? Get a hold of me.